Hello, folks, from my 1301 comp class, which meets from 6:30 up until about 7:45 or thereabouts. How y'all doing? Hope everybody's doing great. Okay, I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. Sorry that this is not coming to you Friday like I wanted, but Monday. And you might hear a bit of background noise too, because I'm at high school right now, and I am supervising a bunch of wonderful students who are waiting to get picked up by their folks. So, in any case, first thing, hopefully by now, all of you have gotten in those 5 PIE exercises, P-I-E. You can look them up to see what their official names are, but in simple terms, remember, P actually stands for the claim that somebody's making in a particular essay or argument. I refers to their evidence and so forth that are used to back up the claim. Maybe it's a quote, maybe it's something else. And E refers to how the person themselves actually views, or their explanation, okay? So P might be, children play too many video games. I might be a quote from an expert about children playing too many video games. Maybe their socialization skills have gone down. And E would be you talking about, well, Dr. Smuckatelli Smith, in his research, notes that children's social skills are going down at the same time that their video game playing is going up. This means that there is a direct relationship to the amount of video games played to the number of, or to the level of social skills that children enjoy. Don't know. But you had to find 5 of those, P-I-E, claims, evidence, and analysis, based upon the particular piece that was given you, that particular article that was given you. Now, the next thing that you will hopefully have done by the time we meet on Tuesday night of this week, you will have looked at the concept of logical fallacies, okay? Now, you got your point claim, the PIE stands for point claim, illustration, and then explanation, okay? So, an argument, just because you have a complete argument with a point, an illustration, and explanation, it doesn't mean you've got a good argument. So, for example, okay, I may give you a complete argument saying, point, Jane is the smartest person on the planet. Illustration, wow. Well, Jane can walk into a junkyard and make a toaster out of anything she finds in 5 minutes. Explanation? Well, my interpretation is, I don't know anyone else who can do that. Well, that's great. But again, there's a bit of a problem. How do we know that the stuff you've made or put out there suggests that Jane is indeed the smartest person on the planet? Well, the person making the argument, for example, we don't know that they know everybody on the planet. We're only told about Jane's toaster-making ability. Can she read? Can she add? Can she do calculus? Can she build a rocket ship like dear Mr. Elon Musk can? We have no idea based upon the evidence or illustration that the arguer gives. We don't know if there was already a working toaster in the junkyard when the arguer saw Jane make a toaster in 5 minutes. Maybe all she did was plug one in that was already working. Okay? So the point is, just because you can make an argument with a claim, with evidence, and an explanation, it doesn't mean it's a good argument or a valid argument. Remember that from the first night. Arguments aren't necessarily true or untrue. They are valid or invalid. Okay? They are good or not good. Basically, complete or incomplete. So, as we said before, a logical fallacy is a bad argument. So, you should avoid them when you are arguing with people. Okay? And as stated, there are hundreds of logical fallacies. Okay? Now, the lesson giving you, for example, one would be hasty generalization. Okay? Well, let's see. If I say this yellow pen doesn't work, and those 3 other pens don't work, colored pens don't work, then saying all the pens in the world don't work. I got smacked in the head when I was a child by a young man wearing a polka dot tie. Therefore, I will be triggered and hate any other person wearing a polka dot tie. Hasty generalization. It's true about a small group I've known, but that doesn't mean it's true about the larger group or the complete group. Okay? A hasty generalization they give an example of in the actual slideshow from Dr. Fun. The police responsible for George Floyd's death prove all police are bad. Well, not necessarily so. Only 4 policemen were involved in George Floyd's death. Okay? How many of them were actually convicted in a court of law proving that they were at fault for George Floyd's death? And the only way this argument works is if, indeed, all of these folks, all policemen, can be proven from this small group to have done bad things. Okay? We looked at false analogy, a couple of examples of that. We looked at post hoc ergo propter hoc, meaning just because something, one thing did cause another, doesn't mean that all things have been caused by another. Okay? I stared at a cow. Just because it died the next day doesn't mean that I killed it by staring at it. Okay? One they do give is an either or a false dilemma. That's kind of like the, the one where they only give 2 choices. I'm blanking out on my own thing right now. But where they only give 2 choices. Okay? False bifurcation and so forth. Either you go to college or you go straight to work. That's the one example they give here. Well, no, not necessarily. Okay, it doesn't really work that way. Either you decide to be stupid and follow a life of faith, or you're smart and you follow science. Well, there's a third choice there. You could be both a scientist and a person of faith. Don't have to be, but you could be if you choose to. Okay? The ad hominem attack is where you're attacking the person's name. Okay? Bandwagon is where it's believed that just because a lot of people are doing something, it's true. Okay? Or believing something that it's automatically true. Okay? Slippery slope. Again, they give the one example. Sometimes the slippery slope is accurate, but only when you can give evidence that if we do this, then this worst consequence will happen, and then this worst consequence will happen. That's only valid if you can prove it happened before in other contexts. Okay? The straw man is where you make somebody's argument look as difficult and bad and horrible as possible, far worse than it actually is, so it's easy to knock it down. Okay? They give several examples of straw man in the slideshow, and we talked about circular reasoning as well, doubtful authority. Some people will say that Wikipedia itself is a complete logical fallacy. Not necessarily so, but the fact is anybody can put anything they want on Wikipedia. That in itself makes it unreliable if you're going to quote it on a paper for college. Okay? So, finish that particular piece. There is, if I am not mistaken, an actual, there's an actual piece that goes with that. Let me double check that here. Okay? So we'll do the exercises involved. Yeah, just go over that particular lesson. You can either watch the video or the slideshow, and we'll get into the next piece on logical fallacies when we meet again on Tuesday. Thanks so much, folks, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.